Howdy, howdy, howdy. Nearly senior citizen here. Greetings, boys, girls, and all of our non-binary friends, and welcome to this, a brand new day. Hokey smokes. It's late. It is afternoon, and I'm finally getting things recorded, but it has been slow and... well, it's been slow for various reasons, a large part of which has been, it's been raining outside up until fairly recently. It has been just all morning, rain, 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 rain. And aside from the difficulties of doing anything outside while it's raining, you know, anywhere from just going walkies to actually doing things, I've also got seasonal affective disorder, so when it's darker and grayer outside, it really does a number on top of my already existing depression. So I have not been doing great. I mean, I'm surviving, and I'm not going to be ever doing anything foolish. It's just not doing wonderful depression-wise because of a whole bunch of things. One of the consequences of that is, it was depressing, of course, when I was housed in Port Orchard, because while it was nice to be underneath the roof and given food, I was housed there in a place for homeless veterans. You know, a lot of us were there for various reasons, but for those of us who were older, like myself, you know, again, various reasons, but we're kind of on the edges of society. I mean, in my particular case, I got broken. I hurt myself on the job so many times that I can't work anymore, and I have been disabled from my injuries since I was, well, since the year 2005. So I've been on the fringes that way, because with my wife also being disabled, we were just barely hanging on, and since her death, it's been even harder to just hang on. And so I have just been on the very edges in that fashion. So being just housed in Port Orchard after losing my normal housing was a shot to the self-esteem. And even though I am homed here, it is still low-cost housing for people who are on the edges of society. Homeless vets who otherwise would be homeless. I am part of the edges of American civilization where, you know, we can't really contribute to the capitalistic dystopia that's running the country, so we don't matter. And now we're just here, low cost income housing and all that, and I'm only 61. I could have another 20 years ahead of me. What am I going to do? I haven't been able to work since I broke myself, so it's not like I can go out and just get employment. I can't do anything physical because I've been broken, and I have been out of the job market for so long, and even before that I hadn't done anything, you know, up here job-wise for decades even before that. I have no skills that the job market is clamoring to get hold of. So, yay. In general, though, I'm just feeling sad because I'm getting old. That's what it boils down to. Thumbs up for that. Still, though, doing what I can to try and remain creative. I've been thinking of things, keeping stories and such fresh in my head with my settings and all that, trying to keep the actual settings themselves fresh in my head. I went through the entire, well, 8 quick Cliff's Notes over some parts of my setting and such the other day, and I've actually been embarrassed going over it again, to the point that it's a struggle to talk about it now because I'm just embarrassed because I'm an older guy who's homeless and being homed here. And that's really because it's doing a number on my self-esteem and such. It affects how I do everything, including feeling silly and ashamed for having my creative thoughts, because what use having creative thoughts when I'm just a homeless guy? So, like I said, it's a lot of stuff that doesn't make sense, but just because of the depression, they're got hold of me. And remember too, again, I've said this before, that depression is like these sunglasses here. Now, there's a lot of things that only make sense when you're wearing the depression glasses, because so many of what makes that worldview work is a part of the glasses that you're actually wearing. So in this case, you could look at it as the dark color is the rest of the equation given to me by the glasses, the depression glasses, and the rest of it is internal. The other parts of it, because of I have cyclical depression, it's not so much anything I'm thinking or doing than just my chemistry is going through this right now again. And because of that, whammo up here. So if that made any sense, thumbs up for that. Yay. We've got people that have moved in that moved in recently, so we're getting more people in. A few people that I've seen from the place in Port Orchard. We have some people that are trying to get in still. Well, of course, and so thumbs up. Hopefully they'll get it and semi soon. So yay. Past that though, as stated, just surviving. One of the situations I'm trying to figure out is the logistics of recording a game and recording voice and stuff. Because if I record a game on the laptop, I can record the actual game, the game, using my game recording software. But if I try to record my voice, that comes out really, really awful. Now, I believe when I'm recording on my tablet here that it's saving to the SD card, which I could just plug in the tablet to make sure it's not going to run out of power, and then record the video using the tablet so that I can get my voice and then just do the game on the laptop and record that this way. Because right now, with only the one monitor back there, I'd have to make sure I could flip between the laptop and the PlayStation using an HDMI switcher, and I'd have to be able to remember to do things, and it's not good because of that. So soon I want to do a video on the very relaxing game Outpath, and so that one's coming up. Promise you, as soon as I get the logistics worked out. So thumbs up on that. Yay! As for other things, there are games, the pencil and paper solo RPG things, some of them with the PDFs that, again, can be done purely digital, and that's a good thing, and I want to do those. And then there's the others that I have printed out, because while it is possible to do and show it digitally, like for Against Darkness, it really is easier and looks, better from my point of view if it's done, using actual pencil and paper. So we shall see, and hopefully things go well. Yay! Brain. So, yeah. Now, really quick, I'm going to do some talk on the creative setting. I've mentioned how there's the Yogata, which is the theistic, philosophical, and physical nothingness that separates multiverses within this setting. Now, I've also mentioned too that reality clicks upward and clicks downward, and there are an infinite number of steps up you can take and an infinite number of steps downward you can take, and each one, as an analogy, is like you take one step upward, and it's like our entire electromagnetic spectrum is just the visible light spectrum of the electromagnetic spectrum up above. And then each click, that's what it does. There's just always more recursively. Go downward and it's just the opposite, opens up in this direction, but it's all fractal, and so there's always more. It's just separated layers of reality in that fashion. Now, if down here there's the Ungata, the void, then how do you envision this sort of thing? One way to envision this is strictly metaphorical, absolutely has nothing to do with the way it really is, but try to imagine like a three-dimensional space that is filled with just oddly shaped three-dimensional objects. Like just take a meter by meter by meter, you know, like this square of space, and put a bunch of bath toys inside of it. Well, now you take that and make each of those sides, instead of 1 meter, it is, you know, trillions of light years. And within this space, all of the small things become vast and bizarre and huge, and the space becomes weird. Now, if you separate that space into like 1 millimeter slices of it, and you had each of those as a tick up or down, then that's effectively the layers of reality there. Everything is different and bizarre, and you tick up and it's roughly the same, just a little bit different from what's there. The shapes are a little bit different, the volumes are a little bit odder, and it's all just snapshot layers. Again, analogy, metaphor. And so if you go up high enough, then there's no more Ungata. There's just, you know, this shape, then there's the Ungata in part of the shape, and you've gone above it in this layer upward, and it's no longer present. Same thing eventually going downward. So our layer is this spot, just one of the sheets within this shape, this space. It's not a real thing, it's just a metaphor, an analogy, but it's just, that's one way to think of it. Now, what happens, of course, is there's no real way to describe it, but again, as metaphor and analogy, up here, there is something that occurs. This causes a breakdown on our layer where the Ungata is, and there is an opening where this energy begins to pour out in the Ungata on this layer. Because they are other extra universal and just energies that we don't understand, they do engage and interact in non-Euclidean type fashion. So in this circumstance, it acts more as fluid dynamics than the energy as we would understand it. But this energy is pouring out of this whatever, and it is collecting around there. Remembering that the Ungata is nothing, and if you enter the Ungata, and matter evaporates instantly into energy, and energy collapses into its lowest possible rest state. Well, if you look at it as a fluid dynamics level, when you're too close to whatever this is where the energy is entering, it is too hot. And then over here you got the Ungata, which is too cold. In this very, very thin layer between the two, that is where these doorways to the singularity are opening. And each one of these doorways is vibrating with a different wavelength. And each one of these is a different multiverse. So they are occurring right on that thin line between too hot and too cold. So thumbs up for that. And it's, again, these are where the multiverses are, and each one of them could have anywhere from 1 to several trillion to the power of several trillion. And it's just, if it's a stable configuration, it lasts, and if it's not, it collapses, and that's fine. So that's a rough idea of what's happening there. So yay. So until we meet again, you take care. Have a great day today. I will see you on the flip side, and that is indeed a very, very good thing. So now I got to reach forward, grab one of these styluses, and then I got to reach forward onto the tap screen and hit the stop recording button.